Hey everyone, welcome back. Force here with another look at some of the upcoming new games, major updates, and beta tests coming. This one for the month of November 2024. Let's get right into it, shall we? First up this month, we have got Brighter Shores, which I'm tentatively actually really excited for, mainly because this is a brand new MMO from RuneScape's original designer, Andrew Gower. Even just at a glance, you can kind of see the lineage, right? But Brighter Shores isn't just trying to be RuneScape by another name. Instead, its primary inspiration actually comes from tabletop RPGs. It's attempting to be the MMO embodiment of those. Probably one of the biggest standouts here is the world structure. Rather than being open world, the game is grid and room based, where you move from one room to another, only discovering what's on the other side by passing through the threshold. And then there's the combat, which as you can see is point and click style. Rather than being action or tab target, you'll click on an enemy, cast any of your abilities off cooldown while simultaneously auto attacking, I presume. So yeah, bucking the trend from what many would expect from a new MMO launching in 2024, right? They're also promising a different approach to character classes and gameplay mechanics, aiming to deliver an immersive experience that breaks from the traditional MMO conventions. So for example, they're going to let you automate many grindy activities commonly found in the genre, streamlining repetitive tasks and instead providing you a variety of engaging other activities to focus your time on. Speaking of which, the game will be launching with quite a large number of professions. As of now, confirmed ones include fisher, forager, chef, woodcutter, miner, alchemist, stonemason, merchant, and blacksmith. There will be 3 classes to choose from to start, with more coming later on. There's the Cryo Knight, warriors who use ice and cold magic, the Guardian, this defensive, focusing on resilience, shielding themselves and allies, and then the Hammer Mage, who combines elemental magic and physical combat. There will also be the expected MMO variety of landscapes and points of interest. There's 4 initial locations coming, which are Hope Port, Hope Forest, Mine of Mantubin, and Chronopolis. And then within those areas, a diverse mix of creatures and enemies, and all the expected content variety as well. You'll see dungeons, you'll see various gathering nodes, you'll come across towns and all sorts of stuff. They are promising to deliver an ongoing story in a rich, immersive MMO world with other players and hundreds of hours of gameplay. So Brighter Shores is launching into Steam Early Access on November the 6th. Now it's worth noting that the game is free to play with no microtransactions. Instead, what they're doing is using a premium model, which is quite similar to RuneScape's, which basically means you get like a free trial, you can play up to a certain point, and then after that point, you're gonna need to buy the premium pass to continue progressing. But it's a free trial to see if you like the game before you spend any money, which ain't too shabby. Now, while in early access, they say that the game is going to be constantly expanding with new content being released in this episodic format, each episode with its own unique side quest, professions, and lands, as well as advancing the story. Yeah, I mean, hey, look, the visual style, it didn't exactly make me super excited when I first saw it, and even just how the world is structured and the combat, it wasn't an immediate sales pitch for me. But the more I've looked into this game, the more interested I have become, and I'm absolutely keeping an open mind here, considering who it's coming from. I'm honestly really hopeful that this could be a lot of fun. Fingers crossed here. Once again, Brighter Shores is coming to Steam Early Access for free on November the 6th. And before we continue to list, let's get a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Tarisland, the fantasy MMORPG for mobile and PC. Some of the game's features include an open world to explore with theme park elements, puzzles, events, and activities. There's endgame PvE with dungeons and raids, as well as competitive arena PvP, and 9 classes with 18 different specializations to choose from. So recently, they released a brand new season. This comes with some new content and features, including a whole new map and new scenario. There's 5-player dungeons and 10-player raids here. There's this new boost via a quest chain where you can reach level 40 on your very first day, letting you team up and play the new content with your friends quickly. There's new legendary weapons for every class, as well as some updates to talents. And with the launch of a new 10-player raid, they've got the Dungeon Raid Bounty in Season 1, a completely new gameplay experience with revamped rewards. So Tarisland is available now on both PC and mobile with cross-platform play. To learn more and check out the new season for yourself, just use the link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen. All right, back into the list. Next up, we have got Slitterhead, a new survival horror stealth game developed and published by Boca Game Studio, helmed by the creator of the Silent Hill franchise. The game's got quite an interesting premise and a name that almost sounds like a slur, but yeah, Slitterhead has you playing as this entity called Hayoki, who finds himself wandering wandering amidst the chaos of a world plagued by these creatures known as Slitterheads. They are these human mimics, basically, that when revealed transform into these monstrosities. But the catch here is you're not just playing as like this single defined character, rather you've got this ability to possess and control humans at will, turning everyone wandering around the city into your pawns. So with this power, you can slip through barriers, assume the identity of specific individuals, and infiltrate dangerous areas and organizations. And then you're also able to rapidly switch hosts, so you can traverse the city at high speeds. And this body hopping comes into play in the combat as well, because beyond being a horror game in a spooky world, Slitterhead is also an action-adventure game. When fighting Slitterheads, you can constantly swap hosts to attack from a different angle. I'll get myself together, I promise. When fighting Slitterheads, you can switch host and basically letting you attack from different angles, kind of hopping around them when they've got big attacks coming in, right? But the human bodies are fragile by themselves. However, as Hyoki, you can burn their life force and then turn their blood into weapons, like giving them claws or a sword that they can wield. And then you're going to want to strategically swap hosts before being hit, almost like kind of dashing around the enemy. There's also different rarities of humans. Some humans have a higher sync with Hyoki, which lets you unleash more powerful attacks and activate various abilities. Yeah, I mean, certainly an interesting premise for this one. Can't deny that. The IGN preview that I saw was pretty positive about the game as well, referring to this as like a combination of Silent Hill and Siren with action RPG combat. Slitterhead launches on November the 8th, coming to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. All right, next up is easily one of my most anticipated titles of the whole year, talking Path of Exile 2. While I have dabbled with PoE over the years, initially playing it when it first entered early access almost a decade ago, however long it's been, it has, however, never been a game that I constantly played, but with PoE 2 coming, I think that's going to change here. I'm going to be really interested as well to compare this sequel to Blizzard's latest Diablo installment. Either way, though, there's definitely going to be some similarities between base PoE and the sequel, but there is a few noteworthy changes and additions. The first one being improved combat. One aspect of Path of Exile you could criticize is its sense of impact and visceral feel. The developer has made many strides in working to improve this gameplay feel in multiple ways, they've said. They've done things like updated the animation, sounds, and worked on improved input latency, as well as better feedback with sounds and animations. They've added more mobility to the game. Lots of skills now just have baked-in movement, and there's a base-level dodge for everyone. And then also, everything seems reined in a little bit, at least the combat and the gameplay showcases they have revealed, compared to Path of Exile 1, seems a little tuned back, although I assume that once players reach endgame and start optimizing their builds and getting better gear, things are certainly going to speed up again. To what degree, though, we'll have to wait and see. Whole bunch of new features and mechanics. All CC abilities let you build up to a freezer stun now. There's a new dedicated resource called Spirit that's specifically used for ongoing effects like armors, auras, and minions. Staffs in the game now come with these built-in free-to-cast abilities, replacing the old basic attacks of caster weapons, which were somewhat worthless. There's auto weapon swapping, where you can set which weapons are used for each of your skills. Then instead of skill-specific gems, they've also got uncut gems. Those let you pick the skill that it unlocks, and they're adding way more skill modification and utility to support gems, moving away from just damage multipliers to things like multi-shot, attack speed, move speed, debuffs, proc chance, etc. The game is going to feature loads of bosses to fight in addition to all the normal basic enemies. There are going to be 6 acts to play through in the campaign. Within each act are a bunch of segmented off areas, and then every single one of those areas has a boss fight within it, which results in over 100 unique bosses, each with unique mechanics and attack patterns. And these are not just upscaled versions of normal or elite enemies. They're going out of their way to say, hey, we got a bunch of unique bespoke bosses. New classes and skills. The game is going to be introducing 6 brand new classes in addition to the ones that were already there, resulting in 12 classes, each with branching ascendancies for a total of 36 ascendancy classes. And if you didn't know, ascendancies basically unlock these new unique skill trees that can drastically change up how the base class plays. On top of that, there's 1,500 passive skills and 240 active skills. I don't know if they're dodging the the perception of this game that it's super complicated. 1,500 passive skills. Oh boy, can't wait to watch the 7-hour YouTube video trying to figure that one out. Anyways, probably best of all though, and really hats off to the developer, is the fact that all microtransactions carry over between the two games. So like besides cosmetics, if you buy cosmetics in one, it's going to carry over to the other. Any convenience purchases will work between the games as well. So for example, as a free-to-play game, if you bought the convenience stuff like stash tabs in Path of Exile 1, those purchases are going to carry over into Path of Exile 2. It's just unheard of. I can't think of any other developer who's actually done this in my memory. So again, hats off to the devs. Now, those are just some of the noteworthy things, but yeah, there's a lot more, and it's safe to say this game, I think, think is going to be pretty amazing. Really looking forward to it. So Path of Exile 2 enters early access on November 15th. Now, I should add that while the base game will be 100% free when it releases, this early access iteration isn't. 1.0, you can just play for free. If you want to play early access on November 15th, you are going to have to buy one of these base level packages to enter. As of this recording, they haven't announced or revealed the pricing on those. I'm assuming it's going to be somewhere between $20, $30, or $40 for the base entry level. That is just a guess though. But yeah, unlike Brighter Shores, which is a game that's free to play that's launching into early access and free to play, Path of Exile is going to be free to play. The early access iteration will cost you for access. So again, just a nice caveat there. Okay, next up we've got Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl. This is the sequel to the original critically acclaimed survival horror game. The sequel will follow in the previous title's footsteps, aiming to deliver a similar type of experience. The developer has described the game as a unique blend of FPS, of immersive sim, and horror in a really thick atmosphere, and states that it will offer, quote, one of the biggest open worlds to date. Additionally, they've said it'll have a fast-paced change of scenery, ominous landscapes, and then the ever-present feeling of inevitable danger, which is true to what I recall from Stalker. Some key features of Stalker 2 include a non-linear story as you explore a photorealistic seamless world that is 64 square kilometers of radioactive zone that's going to have a variety of environments. There are legendary mutants with different behavioral models. You encounter these mutated creatures that will try to slaughter you, and they follow their own behavioral models with different subtypes of each creatures that will make their behavior less predictable. You'll come across regions with layers inhabited by massive groups of various types of mutants, so it's gonna be scary, gonna be a lot of scary enemies, they're gonna be unpredictable. Hundreds of weapon combinations. You'll choose your preferable firearm from over 30 different types of weapons with numerous modifications, and you'll be going around with the most valuable artifact and secrets of the zone, hidden in the most dangerous places, because of course they are. In a recent Q&A, GSC Game World stated that the game will feature an epic non-linear story that will be driven by player choice in both the short term and long term. Stalker 2 is also going to be getting PvP multiplayer in a post-launch update, with the developers confirming that it will include a deathmatch and team deathmatch mode. Really hoping this turns out well. We've been anticipating this one for quite some time. Stalker 2 launches on November 20th for PC and Xbox. And believe it or not, Corepunk is actually launching this month. This is that top-down MMO with a bit of an old school hardcore spin to it. Namely, I'm talking about the pace and the difficulty. The game is very slow and it is very punishing. You are dropped right into the world, and pretty much just from the start, you're expected to figure things out on your own with little to no hand holding. For example, there's very few map markers for quests and objectives you've collected. Now, they have added some more guidance and quality of life in most recent patches, but there's still a lot of self-figuring out to do. Combat, while it is simple and very MOBA inspired, it can be quite difficult. If you're not paying attention to enemy telegraphs and get hit by just one or two big attacks, you can quickly lose a majority of your health. And that is an issue because in this game, health management is a huge thing that you have to deal with. There is zero passive out of combat regeneration. You're only going to regenerate health by drinking a potion, eating food, or resting at a campfire. Ideally, you're going to do these in conjunction with each other. But yeah, you're never just passively regaining your health. It doesn't happen. Also, across the board, the game's progression is old school slow. It takes a long time to do just about everything. Getting the resources you need for crafting items takes ages. It can take multiple hours just to get the resources for a single early game item. You start off by only gathering one resource from everything you harvest, and it's not always going to even be the resource you need. You could harvest a bush looking for a particular type of weed, and you could do 10 of them without even getting it. You'll get other stuff that drops from its loot table as well. And also sometimes gathering stuff can fail, which is probably one of my least favorite things that they do. Moving around the world also takes ages. There's no fast travel between waypoints or anything. You got a single Hearthstone with a long cooldown, but that is it. Otherwise, you have to physically walk everywhere. Sometimes that trek, for even doing a single quest, can take 30 minutes easily. And leveling takes ages as well. In the most recent alpha test that we played, just getting to level 10 took, I believe it was 15 to 20 hours. So it is quite a grind. Beyond that stuff though, this is an open world MMO. You go around fighting groups of enemies, completing quests, visiting towns, gathering resources for crafting, leveling your professions and your efficiency. There is also a focus on open world PvP with certain zones that are fully flagged. Combat, as mentioned, is MOBA-like. You've got aimed abilities with skill shots, using basic attacks in between everything while also trying to dodge enemies enemy attacks. There are multiple classes. Each class has 3 subclasses to choose from. They fill the typical range of like MMO class roles and archetypes. You got the progression and customization, which besides leveling and upgrading your skills, consist of weapon mastery lines, talent trees, and then upgrading your artifact slots. There are a ton of crafting and profession systems to engage in, and then the open world itself, it's broken up into these distinct areas. You've got forests, fields, grasslands, glades, swamps, deserts, all the expected different types of locations. Corepunk is an interesting one. You know, from the tests that we've played, I'd say the combat is the real standout plus here. Like once you get going, once you get a few skills and you get some progression upgrades, it can be really enjoyable. The problem I think though is that can take ages. Like getting level 10 I think is a key milestone, and that can take, like I said, 15 to 20 hours. I don't know that a lot of people are going to make it to that point. Like old school MMO enjoyers might enjoy the slow pace and grind, but I do worry the larger group of MMO fans could fall off before they even get to the good parts of Corepunk, and I wouldn't blame them because it can be a bit of a slog from what we saw in the past. But we will see if any of that's changed. It has been several months since I last played, and like I said, Corepunk coming out this month, entering early access on November 26th, launching on PC. I'm definitely going to be checking it out. All right, so those are the main games on my list. Plenty of honorable mentions as always. First up is Mirthwood, a single-player RPG life simulator. Having fled a continent swept with war, you're arriving in a new land looking for a fresh start. So you'll explore this immersive medieval fantasy sandbox, choosing who you want to be and what you want to do. There's homesteading. You can build a farm, plant and harvest crops, rear animals, try to build a peaceful life for your family, and trade goods from one town to another. Or you could be all about exploration. You've got this large, fully realized open world comprised of 6 diverse regions with 3 distinct towns. In there, you're going to be battling the weather with like storms, winter, even things like diseases. There's some survival light mechanics here. Combat has you taking up a sword or a bow with real-time action combat. Mirthwood pits you against a variety of enemies from bandits to werewolves. You'll equip yourself with weapons, armor, and clothing, level and specialize your character in your chosen combat class. And then you've got the role-playing side of things. You're going to be adventuring and socializing in this ecosystem that makes organic stories possible. You'll embark on quests and encounter dynamic events in search of epic loot, while also meeting and befriending or insulting townsfolk and NPCs with this Sims-style interaction system. Mirthwood launches on November 6th, coming to PC. There is also a demo available for the game if you want to check it out prior. You can do so anytime. There's a new real-time strategy, but it's not quite what you might expect. Empire of Ants is a third-person RTS where you control a colony, conquering enemy nest and guiding your troops through the perils of the forest. Yes, it's like Age of Empires, but with ant colonies. Features include a variety of troops. You've got the starting, support, and then super predator legions. You can upgrade your nest to access stronger allies like defensive snails or these mobility rhino beetles. You've got special abilities. You'll pick from a range of pheromones that come with their own offensive or defensive enhancements. Tech advancements. Building the right chambers will let you bolster your economy, gain new powers, or strengthen your defenses. And there's expansion. If you run out of room, conquer some enemy nests and then expand into their territory to get stronger. The game's gonna have ranked multiplayer with 1v1 matchmaking and free-for-all matches. There's also private custom lobbies available, and the solo campaign features 20 hours of content where the fate of your colony rests upon your antennas. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna play this one, but it's certainly a unique idea. I gotta hand it to him. Empire of Ants launches on November 7th. It's coming to PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. Metro Awakening is a story-driven first-person adventure Metro game for VR. This blends the atmospheric exploration, stealth, and combat, delivering a very immersive Metro experience. So the year here is 2028. Damn, that's pretty soon. The survivors of a nuclear Armageddon cling to existence in the buried subway of the Moscow Metro, which is civilization's last refuge and tomb where ghosts and spirits haunt the living. So you play as Serdar, a doctor braving the darkness, crippling radiation, and deadly threats of the Metro in search for your wife and the medication that she desperately needs. It's a VR Metro game. This could be interesting. It's been a while since I played VR. I still deal with motion sickness anytime I play, but simultaneously I've had some pretty amazing gaming experiences, so always interested when new VR games come out. Metro Awakening launches on November 7th for PC, PlayStation, and the Meta Quest. Towers of Aghasba is an open-world survival crafting game where you play as a young hero returning to their ancestral lands, tasked with rebuilding the tribe and turning a desolate island into a thriving one. Key features include traversing varied terrain in search of resources while fighting back these dark forces that infest the lands. You'll craft weapons, armor, and elixirs before venturing out to battle the Withered, and in eliminating them, gradually ridding the island of their plague. Build sprawling settlements, and you can watch them come alive as they fill up and become inhabited by members of your tribe. Grow plant life, attract and feed animals, and work together with the gods to revitalize the island. And it's got yeah, 4-player co-op. You can invite your friends to join your island and do everything together. Towers of Aghasba launches on November 19th for PC and PlayStation. And then Farming Simulator 25. You want to be a farmer? This is the game that lets you be a farmer. Grow crops, tend to animals, practice forestry, manage an empire, and business ventures with farm shops, productions, and constructions. They've got weather changing in this one with ground deforming atmosphere effects. They're introducing new crops and animals, authentic machinery, and some quality of life farming improvements. Not exactly my sort of thing, but I know people love these simulation games. Farming Simulator, driving simulator, flight simulator. So yeah, pretty cool. And this is actually one of like the most wishlisted and pre-ordered games right now. So again, might not be my cup of tea, but people obviously like it. Farming Simulator 2025 launches on November 19th. All right, and then we got a few tests that I want you to know about. So first up, the highly anticipated next major entry in the Monster Hunter series, Wilds, is holding an open beta. This is going to be split into 2 separate tests. The first one going from October 28th to the 30th. The beta here will be for all PlayStation Plus members, and then from October 31st to November the 3rd, there's going to be an open beta for everyone on all platforms where you can play Monster Hunter Wilds. So the test is going to include character creation with all the options for you and your Palico, the story trial with the opening cutscene, Chadacabra hunt with a basic tutorial, and then the Doshaguma hunt where you'll track and take down the alpha of the Doshaguma pack. So basically this sounds exactly like the Gamescom preview that a bunch of other people and myself made videos about. I got to play this for about an hour. It seems like this is exactly what that preview was. You play through a short story mission, and then you've got the open world area of the first zone where you can hunt the Doshaguma, but there's other things, including that giant lightning lizard. I don't know its name, but the big lightning flying dragon lizard thing, that's there as well. So pretty interesting. If you're looking forward to Monster Hunter Wilds, great time to get a preview of it. And then also this month is Ashes of Creation. Alpha 2 is here. As of this recording, the test is actually up and running right now. Now, we're currently in what's considered the first phase of Alpha 2. This phase consists of weekend tests that run every week from Friday to Sunday. Now, if you had prior access via purchasing Alpha 1 keys, backing the Kickstarter, or getting it via giveaways, if you could play it in the past, then you can play these current weekend tests. Otherwise, if you want to buy your way in by purchasing the Wave 1 keys, these are going to grant you access starting on November the 8th, so a couple weeks from now. Now, I would absolutely recommend watching some streams or videos to get a better sense of what's in the game currently, because frankly, it's just fairly limited in its scope. It's a fraction of a single zone, and then most of what you're doing is grinding. But if you're hyped for Ashes and you want to jump in ASAP, you can do so on November 8th for $120. And that just about does it. Now, this month, I expect I'm going to be spending most of my time playing Brighter Shores. If it clicks with me, I'm super pumped. I will easily dive in and play it nonstop for a couple weeks. That is until Path of Exile 2 comes out, and then I'll likely be swapping to that. And then we got Corepunk at the end of the month, and I definitely want to check that out as well. I'll probably dabble with Ashes of Creation, but I am not burning myself out on a fraction of a game that's at least 3 to 4 years away from official release. So I only expect to hop in here and there until a few years down the road when it is more content and features complete. Otherwise, if I have the time, I'll check out some of this other stuff, but honestly, between Brighter Shores, PoE 2, and Corepunk, those are a lot of time sinks just right there. Also, I recently jumped back into WoW Retail, if you didn't know. Well, why would you? I just want to play through War Within, so I'm going to be kind of slowly chipping away at that as well. But anyway, yeah, lots going on here. Gonna be a pretty busy month, it seems. Lots of fun to be had. Let me know what you're going to be playing. If there's anything big that I missed out on that's worth checking out, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you as always for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see y'all next time.